Good evening, everybody. I'd like to thank you guys for coming tonight. This was our weather date. Thanks for being flexible with your schedules and meeting with us on this one. So tonight I'd like to ask Chris Gregory if he would could lead our invocation, please.
Lord, we thank you for this day you've given us. Thank you for allowing us to gather here. Thank you for the freedom we have in this country to choose our leaders. We ask for your wisdom tonight in making the best decisions we can for people, trust the family who lives here. We thank you for your son, Jesus. In his name, amen.
Amen. Miss Judy, could you lead our Pledge of Allegiance?
Of the United States of America, the state of the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Rita, could you lead our roll call?
Beverly Atwood, Tommy Belcher,
Here.
Linda Bruce, Shane Burton,
Here.
Alan Carmen, Brian Crook, Will Dennis, Jerry Ford,
Here.
Chris Gregory, Jeff Gregory,
Here.
Bubba Gregory, Landon Gully, Judy Kerr, David Nallner,
Here.
Leslie Overman, Mark Presley,
Here.
Amber Russell, Lonnie Taylor,
Here.
David Thomas,
Here.
Steve Whitaker,
Here.
20 present.
Thank you guys for that. I really appreciate it. You guys all have a copy of the minutes from our November 24 commission meeting. They've been distributed to you in your packets. If there'll be no changes, I'll entertain a motion to approve. Jerry and Tommy. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carried. Under the announcements, just a reminder that candidate positions or petitions are available at the Election Commission office located on the first floor of the courthouse here. The petitions for fee clerks, which is fee offices, which is clerk, register of deeds, trustee, and sheriff, are due on February 19, 2026. And petitions for the Commissioners Board of Education mayor are due on March 10. At this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Paxton if he can come up and speak to us about this.
Reiterate with the deadlines for those of you who are going to run for county commission. You do have until March to do that. So don't let those two different deadlines confuse you. Right now, we do have candidates who have expressed an interest in poll petitions, and at least two of them in every district except 5 and 6. So if you know some possible people in districts 5 and 6, that would be good in that, be good here in the commission. We do need some folks to step up and do that. Other than that, we do have all the other positions have at least one person that has pulled. I will be here after the meeting adjourns. So if there is anybody here that wants to pull their petition tonight, I'll be glad to do that prior to you leaving. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, sir. We'd also like to extend our appreciation to all our linemen, emergency personnel, and law enforcement for their efforts in dealing with the winter storm recovery. We want to thank you all for that. Humbly appreciate it. This time, I'd like to ask if many of you had a chance to go down and see the display that the Kimberly Horn staff has for our park project down there. They are up here right now. If anybody has any questions from the commission here for them. If not, we'll be hearing more from them later. If anybody has any questions at all. Sorry. Okay, would you guys like to come up to the podium up here with me for a moment? Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Commission. Alicia Ely with Kimley Horn. Thank you all for coming down, those that were able to stop by this evening. As you're aware, we're completing the countywide Park and Recreation Master Plan that will be allow you all to be eligible for grant funding and to identify future 5 and 10-year needs regarding parks and recreation in the county. Just a couple of highlights of what our team is doing. We started late last year, 2025. We visited the facilities, did our facility assessment first. We completed a public online survey. I'll share with you some of those highlights in just a moment. In January, we met with the Parks and Rec Committee and did a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats workshop that we shared the results downstairs this evening. We've reviewed the existing programs and special events that are hosted here within the county. And then tonight, as Commissioner Taylor mentioned, we displayed 10 boards downstairs identifying the highlights of the draft plan. And we would love any other feedback that we might have this evening and later on those. From here, we'll be making any of those edits, and then ultimately we'll be asking you all to adopt the final master plan. So thank you in advance for that. So survey highlights, just real quick for your time this evening. We had 125 responses. 96% of those folks were identified themselves as Trousdale County residents, so that was great. A couple of highlights, when we asked which activities, programs, or events that folks wanted to add, we had a lot of responses. The top response were additional youth programming, additional special events, additional sports events, and then aquatics. Finally, the fifth response most frequently was pickleball. When we asked what type of facilities folks would like to add or expand, the most responses we received were indoor facilities, a different variety of those, gymnasiums, pools, etc. But indoor was identified as the top. Second was aquatics, a variety of pool, splash pad, aquatic facilities. Third most frequent were greenways and trails. That was something that was brought up throughout multiple questions that we asked. A few other notes, what other athletic facilities specifically folks would want to be added. Almost 60% of people mentioned a type of walking, whether it's walking trail or track facility. 55% acknowledged they would like to see more concession stands and restrooms. And then 53% said they would like to see a splash pad added. And then the final highlight I'll leave with you this evening, what are the most utilized existing facilities that the county already has? 82% was the walking trail. That was by far the majority response there, with 66% utilizing the brand new beautiful playground. And then 50% or half of responses were just general open space. So a lot of variety there. Hopefully that is helpful, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for her? Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a copy of the agenda. If there'll be no additions to the agenda, I will entertain a motion to set the agenda. Chris? Yes, sir.
During work session, we had a discussion on creating a subcommittee to examine the hospital EMS proposal. I'd like to add that under the other business if we can.
Okay, when we get there, we'll take a motion for that.
Okay, I will move to add that as a discussion item under other business, and then approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, have a motion, and with that change, do we have a second? Second from David. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I have that. Citizens' response to agenda items. If you wish to speak to the commission tonight, please sign in at the podium and you'll be called to address the commission at the proper time. Is there any signatures on there? Okay, thank you. This time I'd like to ask our mayor, Jack McCall, could you give us our report?
Sure. I'd like to address the recovery efforts for just a few minutes. Of course, the community center was used as a shelter. I think today is the last day that it's going to be used as a shelter. Chief Beatty headed that up. I'd also like to express appreciation to all our staff, particularly Chief Matt Beatty and his staff, especially in their work up on Gravel Hill, clearing the way up there. Also, Interim Chief Buckmaster and his folks were in on that. So everyone came together and did a great job, and I certainly be commended for that. Another item would be the Justice Center or the potential jail. I had mentioned, I promised to the commission in the February meeting that we'd have some numbers to begin to work on as far as looking at the wheel tax or other sources of revenue, and I will have those numbers when the commission meets at the regular February meeting on the 17th, or at work session on the 17th. Ward School cleanup is going well. Our public service crew, our public works crew has done a great job of preparing the building for renovations. Construction bids should be out by the end of March, and the project must be completed or all the paperwork done by October 31st. So we're on a fast track to get that done this year. The final deadline is December 31st for it all to be done. As you noted, Kimberly Horn had the boards downstairs for everyone to review tonight and have given us a great report on that. And we'll get the results in the next week or two. Health Department renovation, the project is nearing completion. They're putting the finishing touches on the rooms and installing the equipment. And as far as the Broadway sidewalk project is concerned, they're finalizing the environmental phase on that project. When the previous administration applied for the grant, the estimated project cost was $700,000. When TDOT awarded the project, we were allotted $589,000. Kimberly Horn divided this into two phases to assist with the cost, and we've applied for additional funding, but have not been approved at this point. Ms. Thomas is working on finding more funding to finish the project. That's all I have this evening.
Thank you, sir. Does anybody have any questions for the mayor? Okay, thank you. Subcommittees met this month. Audit met on January 6th. Ms. Atwood, could you please speak to that for us?
Audit met in regards to travel policy and travel advances. We discussed to leave or remove item, 9. It's just basically on travel advances, and we've kind of let that as a committee go back to have Ms. Renee look over that to see if there's any reason that we couldn't remove it. We really didn't see a necessity to leave it. It's just basically clarifying that policy. So we're just kind of at a standstill as of right now. That was pretty much the consistency of our meeting. And we do not have a future meeting until we hear back from her.
Anybody have any questions for her? Thank you very much. Moving forward, codes and zoning met on January 22nd. David, could you please speak to that for us, sir?
So yeah, at our codes and zoning meeting, we finally were able to vote on and send forward to the full commission the combined zoning that we've been working on for the last year. Final edits, there were some state organizations that had the old name. We wanted to make sure that we updated those. There was some language that needed to be clarified for modern day versus what some of the language was in there originally. So we had to make it a little more modern. I'll just say that. But that should be coming to work session. It came out of codes and zoning with a favorable approval. And hopefully we can vote on it in February.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for David? Nope. Moving forward, first response, actually law enforcement met on January 5. This would be Amber/Chris Gregory. I think Chris covered for her.
Got him. I just got to find him on my phone. Okay, yes, Law Enforcement Committee met on January 5th. Sheriff Russell gave his report, said his patrol staff was close to being fully staffed. At the time, he was still 3 people short at the jail. Hope to have a full staff in place by summer of this year. Updated us on training. They ordered a new work crew truck. Was supposed to be in by the either end of January, early February. Sheriff, of course, mentioned our pay scale still as compared to other departments that we are still behind. They have added more license plate reader cameras. Those are going well. No update on the radio tower that was asked about. And I believe the next meeting of that committee was not set at that time, but it is set for February the 23rd, yes, I believe, at 6 o'clock.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Chris? Okay, moving forward, first responders services met on January 5. This is Amber/Chris on this one as well. Could you go ahead and continue with that one, please?
Yes, first response met right after law enforcement again on January 5th. Chief Buckmaster presented fire department report. They had 23 members, 1 pending approval. He did not have the full year's report complete yet, but from December 24th through November 25, fire department had responded to 139 calls. 8 of those are structure fires, 23 grass fires. Updated us on training. Also updated us. Chief Buckmaster requested that the committee approve a request for qualification for the metal building that they have asked about next to the current fire hall. Committee did authorize them to proceed with RFQ on that. Fire department did have money in its budget to cover that. We're told that would probably take 3-4 month process to hear back on what they think that will cost. Chief Beatty presented his department's November report. December wasn't ready yet. It had 117 calls in December. EMS was still fully staffed, minus the retirement of Teresa Turner at the end of December. No budget needs really set at the moment. Biggest maintenance need, of course, still the EMS building, which is still in rough shape. Mayor McCall at that meeting noted that Mr. Beeler had resigned as fire chief, that he would be appointing Mr. Buckmaster as the interim. And next meeting of that committee is also set for February 23rd.
Thanks. Does anybody have any questions for Chris? David? Yes, sir.
Yes, on the metal building for the storage of the vehicles for the fire department, was that discussed to be just the minimum that they need for their vehicles, or is that going to be big enough to bring rescue down?
The minutes don't reflect that one way or the other. I would probably have to defer
Amber,
to
would
Chief
you like to
Buckmaster
speak to
on
that?
We've done a wide range from making a lean-to for them, for those vehicles that can't make it inside, all the way up to a larger. So we'll just see how that ends up going.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions regarding? Okay, moving forward. Parks and Recreation met on January 15th. Bubba Gregory, can you please speak to that for us, sir?
What Ashley presented over there is more or less what we did in our meeting, the stuff she discussed. Mayor updated the committee on discussions on purchases of the WTN property area in the park. The radio station is willing to discuss, and it would benefit option B in this master plan if we was to get that. He had also talked to Chris Helson about the property above the senior center, which would be a part of option A if we was to want to do that. And we got a price for the pool. It was 2.3 million, which includes tearing down the old pool, making a pavilion type area, renovating bathrooms, making it ADA compliant, and all that. That's what we're looking at, and we'd have to have a 50% match on that if we was on that pool. So that's what kind of figure we're looking at on that. That was about it. Then Mr. Slee presented us. He said he received 10 calls for requests for qualifications to rebuild the walking track. The deadline is January 23rd. 2 companies have expressed interest in work on the tennis courts also. And that's about all. She went over mostly what we discussed as far as their part.
Does anybody have any questions for him regarding Parks and Rec? No, thank you. Budget and Finance met on January 20th. Chris, could you please speak to that for us, sir?
Yes, Budget and Finance met on 20th. Purchasing Oversight members, the 5 members of that subgroup reviewed that. Only question really was regarding the tipping fees paid to the Smith County landfill. Smith County went up on that from, I believe they went from 37 to 50 a ton at some point last year. So we have started paying more there. Everything else was approved. Went over the county financial statements. Generally in good shape. Ahead on expenses. Ahead on revenues. Under on expenses, so good shape there. We had received payment from Enbridge impact fee for the solar array, so that was put in the 171. Committee opted to look into putting $2 million from the 171 Capital Projects Fund into an interest-bearing CD. So we're exploring that. All budget amendments were discussed, approved with minimal discussion. Also held discussions on the pool renovation, that Bubba mentioned. I say discussion, no action taken. Also held discussion on the wheel tax proposal and just how that should be allocated. Whether to stick with the original 40-40-20, or whether it needed to be a different allocation. Again, no decisions made there.
Thanks, Chris. Does anybody have any questions for Chris regarding his report? No, thank you. Is there any other reports that need to come forward that we have somehow missed? Anything? Nope, thank you. So moving on to active and new business for the month. And I'd like to apologize with the video screen. It's been brought to my attention. So just for clarification, the horizontal and vertical sync between the Televic system and the Blackmagic controller that converts that stuff and then runs it through a TDEC or through a TDEC machine. So that's actually what they call them, a TDEC machine that will stream it online. It's got an issue, and it would to correct it would have to reboot. That probably happens about 1 out of 150 boot cycles. Is they'll boot out of sync with each other. So that's why we're looking at it. It's not stopping and waiting on it. Active business, appointments on page 17 of your packets. We have the interim fire chief, beer board, housing authority, and industrial development board. Is that something we could take as one? Okay. I'll take a motion in a second. We can take this as one vote. Second by Bubba. Okay, we'll have to electronic vote this. So we're voting on, yes, Chris.
I will note that since I'm on the appointment list, I'll abstain with cause.
Okay. So please register your votes if you haven't already. Okay, everybody, 19 yes, 1 abstain. So the motion carries. Thank you very much for that, everybody. So we're moving to resolutions. Resolution 2026-01835, which is road name Cobb Lane and Judy Lane, which is going to be on pages 20 and 21 of your packets. And this is from the Emergency Communications District 911 Board to name the 2 private drives for emergency purposes. This does not include them in the county maintained road listing. Got a motion, sorry. We got Landon and Chris, first and second. So we'll have to electronic vote for this. Please register on your device, please. Results are 20 yes, 0 no, so it carries. Thank you very much. Moving to ordinances here, this will be the public hearing and second reading of ordinance 338-2025-25, which is the rezoning of from A1 to R1 on parcel 028-032.04 on Old Highway 25. This is covered on pages 24 through 29 of your packets. This time I'd like to ask Ms. Mayan to please go over this rezoning request for the commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have looked at this before. I did have new information for you. I have supplied a plat or an exhibit that shows that 1 acre of this property will remain A1 and be added to the farm behind it. And what will be rezoned to R1, provided that it is passed, is 2.01 acres.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Rosalie? Yes, well, actually, we can't do that. We gotta, at this time, the public hearing. Okay. Does anybody want to speak in the public? Okay. Close it. Okay. So we'll take a motion to close the public hearing. Good. Landon and Chris. All right. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. It's closed. All righty. At this time, we'll have to electronic vote on this, so you'll register on your devices, please. Yes, sir. We had one. We need a motion, a second to vote on. I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little out of sorts. First, second. All in favor? All right. Now you'll register on your device. Perfect. 20 yes, 0 no. So this carries. Thank you very much. Moving to the first reading of ordinance 339, 2026-01, rezoning for C2 to R1 of parcel 018-00900 on Highway 25 West. This is on pages 30 and through 34. Ms. Mayan, could you please cover this rezoning request for the commission?
Yes. In your packet, you will see that I have handed out a zoning map that shows that there are residential lots that are zoned right across the street from this. They are looking just to divide 1.7, give or take, off of this 114-acre property for a residence there. You can see in the TN property viewer, there is already a house there. They're just wanting to divide that off to sell it. Any questions?
Chris and Beverly, all in favor? No, we got an electronic vote this one, my bad. Told you guys I'm out of sorts. Got a concussion. Oops. From the squirrel. Has everybody voted? Mr. Carmen? Sorry. Thank you. 20 yes, 0 no. 20 yes, 0 no. Thank you. Moving on to budget amendments with electronic voting, all amendments, even those that are fund balance draws may be taken in one motion. If that be the will of the body, are there any questions from the body or anybody would like to pull these out and take them individually? Otherwise, we'll take them as a motion to take them as one. Good. Beverly and Landon, all in favor? Okay, now we'll vote. Yes. Take them all and approve. Results are on that one is 20 yes, 0 no. Thank you. I have a list of the applications for notary. This is for this month, and I have Julia Griffin with Carmen Surveying, Jennifer Barber with Hartsville Health and Rehab, and Andrea Cardenas with Athena Care. Got a motion? A second by Amber. All in favor? Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, under other business here, we have the wheel tax proposal. Again, we're just looking for feedback and so we can give a directive to our County Attorney Beller and Ms. Thomas and Ms. Crowder. I was requested that Rita pull the numbers of all the counties that we have in the state that have a wheel tax and how much they are, just so we can have some numbers to look at. And she's given me that, but we're also going to she's going to compile us a list as to how it's being broken down in other counties as well, just so we have some stuff to, compare to. Is there any discussion from anybody regarding this tonight? David?
I would like to reiterate the point that I keep hearing the discussion of other revenue sources, but yet we're still taxing the community. That's not a different revenue source. Tax is the revenue source, no matter which tax you're using to collect that money. A different revenue source would be a actual different pool of people paying. And I just want to make that clarification.
Thank you. Does anybody else? I mean, I know tax is a dirty word. Nobody likes it. The Beatles hated it. But alas, it's how we gather our money. Any discussions again on the percentages? Or yeah, Amber, you first.
I would like to see it all go towards the prison or the jail, I'm sorry.
Anybody else? Chris?
Yes, like I said, this was mentioned at the Budget and Finance Committee meeting as well. I'm fine with Amber's proposal having it all go toward jail. If we wanted to go say 80-20 jail and school, so there was something for the school system, I'd be okay with that too. 40% just seems a little high for the school when they haven't told us they need something, when they think they might need it, or any detail in that regard. So I'm okay with allocating them something, but like I said, if we wanted to go Amber's route, I would be okay with that as well. And I do think this commission needs to send it forward ourselves. If it gets sent to a referendum, so be it. It'll be our job to sell it to our voters. But I think we need to forward it here.
Understood. Does anybody have anything else? I'm sorry, Mr. Carmen. I couldn't hear. No, I'm sorry. David?
I've talked to some people and they would said it would be better if they knew all the money was going to that one project. It's easier for people to understand it. Place if it's going to be split up 60-40 or 60-80 or 100, whatever. People get curious about why it's going to be split up like that. If you want to have it pass, people would be more to have it all go to that one thing. And then later on, if you need some money, you maybe could draw from it, but or redo it. But in the beginning, I think we put all the money to go for the jail would be the more people would go for it.
I appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything? I mean, I've even heard 90-10. Yes, Chris.
Just one other question. Did the original, I don't recall off the top of my head, did the original proposal have a sunset provision in it? And
it did.
Okay.
And the thing is I think we've discussed this in the past. We do not, as I keep using this phrase, we do not have a crystal ball. We don't know what our needs are going to be in 10, 15, 20 years. So having a sunset so that we can make an adjustment if there's something that needs to be done one way or another versus having something perpetual. So sunsets, and that makes it a whole lot more palatable to the people that's going to be paying that levy, is knowing when the sunset is.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say it definitely needs to have a sunset. I couldn't remember off the top of my head if it did and what that number was.
I mean, the number that we have projected currently at $80 for most vehicles, $50 for antiques, motorcycles, motorbikes, scooters, side-by-sides, and low to medium speed vehicles. In a nutshell, ours would be, what is it, in the top 5? At the top 5 at $80. There's some that hit 100, and then some that are hitting, I don't even know why they're doing it, but across the board that I've seen, but to be fair, it is the only equitable way that we can raise revenue. It's been overstated that 43% of the people in the county pay 100% of the bill, especially without a wheel tax, because 43% of the citizens in the county are the ones that are property owners. It's a fact. And, I've mentioned this many times, but something for us to consider is the fact that Of those 43%, if you take a look at the numbers, it's approaching half of them, close, not quite, but almost half of them are retirement age or are retired. And people that are retired, not everybody's retired very well heeled. Some people are just retired. And those folks, if they have to face a problem like their hot water heater goes out, alternator goes out on their car, their central unit quits, on and on and on. Those are people that are picking what medication they're not going to get filled that month. And we can't put that kind of hardship on people by continually, relying on the property tax for the sole income for the county. So it's not only is it fair and equitable, but it's also compassionate for everyone. It's not the answer. We know it's not the answer for everything, but it pulls the Band-Aid off and it helps. Setting aside some money towards education, as you guys look in your books and your history of what this county's been doing, I've been watching it now for 30 some years. This county has had a tendency to run in a reactive state on everything. They don't deal with it until it's time to react. But that's the most expensive way to do business. You need to work on when you actually have to plan. You should not have to work on a reactive state. In doing it in a proactive state, we're able to set money aside, build a plan so that when these catastrophic things hit us and land on our toes, we're not sitting here like we are right now going, uh-oh, how are we going to pay the bill? So there's a lot of things to consider. The wheel tax, call it what you will. It is what we need. I mean, we really do need the revenue from that, and it is fair. And like I said, we won't be the highest in the state. And, we would have a sunset clause in there for a reason. And, the feedback is what we need, the percentages. We have to give some guidance to our attorney and to Amy and to Rita as we go forward. Jerry.
Mr. Belcher and myself went up, sat down with our attorney. And I think if you checked, I don't know if you checked this end of it, but most of the counties that have a wheel tax have it going to different areas. And we took a look at that. He had done some work on that. He's not here to speak for it, but I'll tell you, Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong, that it would be better to break it down into 3 different levels like that. 40% would go to work on the jail, 40% to the school, and the 20% could be used elsewhere, like paying on debt or whatever. Now, one thing you need to remember here, we're not depending on the wheel tax to build a jail. Let's be sure we understand that. Now, we know for a fact that Enridge is coming through. They're already digging it. And they're supposed to be 27, I think in 27, or maybe I'm right or wrong on that, it's close, that they're supposed to be in production. That's a considerable amount of money that's coming to our county when that happens. But remember this, that's controlled by the state, not by us. Whatever they give us, it's going to escalate, de-escalate just like that. So this is something that will help the county in other areas, not just with the, if you plan on that to build your jail, you can forget it because it ain't going to do it. It ain't going to touch it. But it will help absorb some other things. And I agree with you that we decided, just like before when we did it, Mr. Ferguson and myself sat on the stairs down there where the old judge office used to be. And we did put the $40 wheel tax against the high school. We did sunset it. If you don't sunset it, your great-great-grandchildren may be paying this. And that's not right. It's not fair to nobody to not sunset this thing when we do it. However, how many years that we can work on, I'd suggest 20. But I'm one of 20 to help make that decision. Tom and I took it on ourselves to get it started. We've got it started. And I'm still for breaking it down, just like we and Mr. Beller agreed that was the way most counties did it. But your county's different, just like us. We have a different need than Macon County. We have a different need in Wilson and Sumner County. But remember, those two counties are getting over $100 million a year sales tax. Amy, are we getting $1 million? Are we close to $1 million? So we're close to 1 million. So when you start comparing us to these other counties, you're making a terrible mistake because it just ain't there. And it probably won't never be there.
Mr. Ford brings up a couple of really interesting points there. I believe Wilson and those counties that you spoke of there with the amount of the amount of sales tax that are coming to them, you might remember that sales tax is split between the education as well. So that is one way that these counties are able to fund those lots of schools you see going up and those things of that nature. You can sit here and hold and procrastinate, call it kick the can down the road if you wish to. That's a choice you're going to be looking at in the future. But one cold hard fact is there will be need coming our way. We know that. And today, one cold hard fact that Mr. Dennis, correct me here if I'm wrong on this. In the past, we were looking at a $25 million loan on 40 years at a $2 million payment per year. Just to understand, I heard the word 20-year sunset. I agree with the sunset, but I don't think 20 years gets us to any help in a 40-year note. And that was on 25 million. So I'm just
I wasn't aware of the term, so it was spitballing on that way. So a 40-year sunset, if that's what it takes.
just making sure that we are clear. That was
Totally.
what number we've talked on was a $2 million payment on a 40-year note for that $25 million facility.
And to be, to refresh everybody's memory, and I appreciate Jerry bringing up Enbridge. They told us not to run out and build a school counting on that money because between now and the time that they're supposed to go online, a zillion things in one could happen. Not likely, but then again, it could. And we do not know, like he said, the state's in control of how that money's going to be flowing. And it will be on a depreciation table. I'm not exactly sure how that could possibly work, but it does work in their favor. I'm still trying to wrap my brain around something that's generating the revenue that it does is depreciating the way that they are, but whatever. It will help. It will help us a lot. Like I said, just don't count on it. I completely agree with Landon on that one. Like I mentioned, Rita has been very kind to pull up some of the numbers for me, and she's continuing to research on how other counties do the breakdown, just so we have some guidelines to look at. So it's a little easier for us to help explain to people that we're not the only ones that are looking at it this way, and then seeing the amounts that other counties are charging. And then, obviously we can look and see what kind of sunsets we're looking at, but I don't think 40 is at all unreasonable when we're looking at a capital expense of a project like that jail. We're going to have to do what we have to do to get there and try not to pass it all on to the 43% that are paying the bills currently, or not pass it on as, 100% to them. But does anybody else have anything? That's what this is for, is to talk about. Yes, Alan?
Someone brought up maybe having a county building fund, and it would go to different places. It would go to a school, it would go to the prison, it would go to anything the county was building. And if you could tie the sunset to it being paid off.
I hear you. Does anybody have anything else? Any thoughts? This is what we need to be doing. This is very helpful. This is how everybody's getting their information, so we can stay transparent and keep moving forward, because we do have to start giving some direction to Mr. Beller and to Amy. Yes, David.
So I really don't understand the push for a sunset anyway. We had a sunset, we had a wheel tax, and here we are not only asking for another wheel tax, but doubling the wheel tax. So I don't really see the reason for having a sunset in general. We're always going to need revenue.
That's correct, but just to be able to explain this to our constituents and to make it, wheel taxes are typically tied to a project. And I know that we do have ongoing fixed expenses that we're trying to pay, but if we're counting on wheel tax to go into 101, we got far more problems than that. If that's what's funding 101 is a wheel tax. I think we will have to have some sort of a sunset. And the reason behind the sunset is, like I said, at the end of a project, when it's tied to a payoff, we don't know what kind of shape we're going to be in at that time. You know, Lord knows I won't be here, and many of us won't be at that time. I'd hate to see people tied to something like that. I mean, we don't have a crystal ball. You can always adjust. Yeah, it could be adjusted and reinstituted. Yeah, go ahead, David.
I don't know a constituent who would vote against ending a wheel tax. So if we didn't have a sunset and 40 years down the road, it's paid off and we're doing great, there's no reason why we couldn't just put it forth. If it passes by referendum, it has to be amended by referendum and cancel it without a sunset, because everyone's going to vote yes for that. But if you say you're going to sunset it and then come back a couple of years later and, well, before it even sunsetted, this body, well, not everyone in this body, but the commission was already looking to throw up another one. So by saying it's sunsetting, you're kind of giving a false representation that the tax will end at some point. Because here we are not only asking for it to continue, but we're going to double it.
Understood. Judy, I believe you were next.
In 20 years, we may need to double what we're currently going to be asking for the wheel tax.
Understood. Chris?
The whole point behind the sunset provision, and I'm totally for it, if this goes to referendum and you don't have a sunset provision, you can forget it passing. It won't happen.
That was the point that I was making, and I do understand what you're saying, David. It's just a technicality, to be honest with you. But yeah, it would be tied to a payoff. Does any, or possibilities, all depends on how the body votes. Does anybody else have anything? Yes, Landon.
I believe the mayor mentioned that we would have more clear numbers at our next February meeting for the jail project. Seems like it would be something good for this committee or commission to consider what numbers we're actually looking at instead of just spitballing at this point.
Oh, completely. And like I said, this is just an informative discussion. That way we kind of have an idea which direction we're moving, and then we're looking forward to seeing those numbers, Mayor. And then we can get a little bit more informed and make a little bit more, tighten our focus down a little bit. Anything else before I move on? No? Okay, under other, Chris, you had mentioned something earlier about the EMS, the subcommittee we're talking about for me.
We had discussed as a body, of course, during work session, it seemed that nobody really liked that initial hospital proposal, but there was discussion about creating a subcommittee to reach out to the hospital and try to see if there was a palatable solution, that the commission and I guess current EMS could live with. So I would like to see us do that, and if I need to put that in a motion to create a subcommittee, I'll do so.
We have a motion, and for this, David, we have a motion and a second. So all in favor of us exploring making this committee so we can try and come up with a better solution on this? Go ahead, Landon. The motion is to form a subcommittee to research the needs of the EMS community and the county's needs for looking at proposals for other opportunities for partnerships with our EMS services. like he said, the original one was, it was, like I said, it was a spitballing one that it was just a point of beginning conversations, but we would like to come forward with our wants and needs on it. So that'd be the point of this one. So I guess that's the motion on this. Sorry for the long walk.
One thing I would like to clarify in there, and hopefully this will become Ms. Thomas, is that somebody from from our EMS service should be part of that committee. They should have a role in it.
Completely. I 100% agree. And then we'll have to get some other people, even some people from out, from that are not commissioners from the community that are in the medical field, and just so we can have a consortium of people that could be involved, that we can have the most informed. Amending this, so somebody from EMS will definitely be on. Probably 2 would be my guess. All right, anybody else? Sorry, Landon. All in favor? Any opposed? We have 3. 2. Do we have to vote this? Yeah. We'll electronic vote this since we had a fair number. Restating the motion. Would you like to restate your motion, Chris, so I don't get word salad tossed up in it?
Okay. The motion is to form a subcommittee to explore hospital EMS options with the provision that somebody, at least one person, if not more, from EMS will be part of that committee.
Any further questions? Did that clarify it for you?